Hey guys, how's it going? This review is going to be a little bit different because this is for the guy. Usually I do videos on radios and knives and things like that, but I had this 10-gallon air compressor, and it's nice. It's a Campbell Hausfeld 1.5 horse, and you know, it's a good air compressor. You can see the rating on it. The thing overheats. I don't know exactly why. It just depends on, you know, when it's out. A lot of my stuff looks pretty new. I take very good care of my, I take care of everything. Take good care of everything. And, but yeah, when I've had this out, it's seen a lot of hot nights and hot days, and it's been out in the cold. But for some reason, it's just started overheating lately. I don't know why, and I have a feeling, you know, it may have something to do with the controls here. I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about our compressors, but what I did was I just said, screw it, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get a different one, because when I'm using an air compressor, I want the damn thing to work. I also have a little, it's Campbell Hausfeld. These are just bargain brand, and I'm cool with bargain brand things like air compressors, because there's really not a whole lot to them. This one's a 2-gallon. And it'll do like an airbrush, and it'll do, you know, it says it'll do, it's 120 volt, 100 psi max. You know, yeah, maybe it would power something light, but as far as, you know, as far as something like, you know, a power tool, it doesn't work very good. I've got different things. I've got a die grinder here that I use. I'm going to try and go quick because I don't really want to go too far on this. But it'll run that. We'll do a power, we'll do a die grinder, you know, things like that. It'll work with airbrushing, things like that. It doesn't have that much tank capacity. 10 gallons does. But this, I just picked up at Harbor Freight, and I thought, oh man, I hope it's not going to be a piece of shit. And, you know, at the same time, it's 169 bucks, and I've looked around, and really, for 169 bucks, it's pretty damn good. It really is. Steel wheels on it. It's got a 21-gallon tank. Now, for all the, you know, all the guys that, I've seen all the comments, you know, oh, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right. Well, before anybody leaves me comments on, about, you know, this or that, fuck you, okay? Just plain and simple, fuck you. Save the comments. You know, if you've got a smart-ass comment, you know, keep it to yourself, because I really don't care. But to the people who are actually cool and, you know, tune in for, you know, to see air compressors and things like that and tools, and, you know, are looking for a low-cost, decent air compressor, this one is nice. 21-gallon, 125 psi, 2.5 horsepower. That's a 1.5. This is a 2.5. You know, it's more than enough. It's got gauges that I'm not too crazy about, because really, you can see it's got tank. I mean, yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory, because, you know, you've got tank and then you've got the output. So, yeah, you know, you've got these two gauges, but on the Campbell Hausfeld, they're a little bit better. Not much, but, you know, I mean, I think they're better gauges. I might pull these gauges and I might put them on here, I don't know. But it works very well. What I've done is this video is pretty much for a guy who put out a real good video on air compressors. It's cast iron, and it's got the fill marker. And actually what I did was I let it run for the 20 minutes full on open, and then I let it do about an hour of I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see like a dot right there. Well, in the middle of that dot is, or I think right to the top is where the oil, I believe it's right in the middle, but I have to look. But it does have a good, easy to reach reset switch. The switch is on the Campbell house felt. I think it's a little better. I don't know why this thing is overheating, but it's pissing me off, and it shouldn't be doing that. This one, I don't believe will do that. It's got a decent air filter, but on these air filters, I don't like them because Campbell house felt will give you a metal one that is actually like a real air filter. You know, this is what you're going to get with that. I'm thinking about just switching it out. The one that comes with Harbor Freight will look like this, and I think it's really inferior. I don't like it. But at the same time, I don't even know if I can get the damn thing open. Yeah, I can. That's all you get with the Harbor Freight one. And, you know, I mean, you get what you pay for in a lot of things. And I don't think that, I think that in the case of this air compressor, it's probably a little bit more. I think I'll get a little bit more than what I paid for it. But hopefully I will. But I use air compressors a lot out in the field and on different jobs, and they work really, really well. This 21 gallons for the shop, and I think it's going to be a nice air compressor. People always get pissed off when they see these air compressor reviews, and they don't know exactly you know, how loud it's going to be. What I did do is I put in a ground fault. I don't think I needed to, but I did anyway. It does have a very big plug and a very thick cord. Now the one on the other fellow's video, it was he didn't have quite a bigger cord. That's the cord as compared to that Campbell house phone. So it's pretty big, and it will pull a lot. So I kind of like that. Let me see here. These things are kind of hard to move. But if I'm going to spend money on something, I'm going to spend it on an air tool. I'm not going to spend it on a compressor. I mean, you know, unless I absolutely have to. And a lot of the compressors I just don't think are really, I don't think there's really that much to them. Ingersoll Rand makes really good shit, and they always have. But as far as air compressors go, there's just really, you know, basic components to them, not a whole lot. And, you know, if this thing goes to shit on me, well, you know, I'll worry about that. The guy said in the video that that this thing will wake the dead. Yeah, turn your speakers down. Let me turn it on here. Oh, dumbass. Shit. Okay. what it's got right now in it is, see, I go ahead and put the comments in because, yeah, it's got 125 in it. Well, it'll kick on at right about 90. It gives you a lot of capacity in a 21 gallon. 10 gallon you should be fine with for most stuff. 1.5 horse is more than enough for most people. 125 psi. Most everything runs at 90. But at the same time, 21 gallon, it gives you a little more capacity. And I do like that. And for my shop, I think it's good. And I also use a blower, which, I think just about everybody should have. This thing, I think I use more than anything else. I mean, you get really, really hot, and when I'm hot, I don't give a rat's ass what comes out of here. Yeah, it does have, a valve on it, but I don't care what kind of air is coming out of here. When I'm hot. And anyway, son of a bitch, 12 minutes. But I haven't touched on hardly anything. But I ran it for 20 minutes wide open. I ran it for an hour with the valves and with the air tools. And I'm getting ready you change the oil. I don't like this, but at the same time, it's not in a bad place. But that's the oil change. That's where you change the oil, as opposed to something like this, where you change the oil on that. That's a little easier, but at the same time, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. But I am going to follow the advice of the fellow that, just like for cars, I mean, you run them for a while, and you let them get broken in, and I should probably run it a little longer, and then drain the oil and put in some good oil and drain the tank and fill her up. So I mean, it's a good compressor. One thing they did do is they said that some compressors will come with some fluid in them, and yeah, that could be. But if they do lay them down on their side, it's a good idea to let that stuff settle. So, keep your compressor upright for a little while. But anyway, yeah, that's the Campbell Hausfeld 21 gallon, 125 psi. And right now, it has leveled off at a respectable, at a very respectable setting right there. So, it'll run what you need it to run, and the capacity in this tank on the 21 gallon is pretty damn good. If you're running an air nailer, if you're running, something with short bursts, impact wrenches are a little heavier, but still short bursts, you'll get a lot of use out of something like this. It is heavy, it is upright. The drain is located right here, and that's the drain valve for the bottom. It does have heavy duty feet on it, and it's got steel wheels, and unlike the plastic Campbell house valve. So, you know, I mean, you get what you pay for, but hopefully, you know, with some of Harbor Freight's stuff, maybe you'll get a little bit more. Maybe not, we'll see. But, you know, at the same time, 169 bucks for an air compressor, well, I think that's a pretty good deal. You know, yeah, you can get the oilless air compressors, you can get quiet air compressors, but right now, you know, for what I need in my shop, you know, I really don't need anything big. I don't need anything major. And if I'm going to spend money on, you know, on power tools, it's going to be something. I don't like cheap tools, and you know, if it's not Ingersoll Rand, I'll get a cheap one if I'm going to use it just for a little bit. But if not, I'd rather have good power tools and a compressor that will do the job and not screw up on me, and you know, get the job done. I really don't care where it came from, as long as it's not stolen. You know, Harbor Freight, some of their stuff is good, some of their stuff is bad. This, I think, will be a good air compressor. Time will tell. Campbell Hausfeld, not bad, you know, but at the same time, it's still not, it's not much different. You're really not getting that much more quality out of an air compressor as opposed to something like this. And Campbell Hausfeld's air compressors are right at 233. So, you know, I mean, that's for a 20 gallon. And, you know, Sears and, you know, I think Home Depot, they've got them for like, I don't know, 21, or no, 200 and, I forget how much they are, but they're a lot more than this. And I think that's a pretty decent air compressor, all in all. And these two over here, if this one wasn't overheating, I wouldn't have even screwed with that. But when it does, I really don't have time for it. And I think that's a decent compressor. And I want to thank the guy who did the YouTube video that really knew his shit. You know, I mean, it's good to be able to watch a video about somebody who knows his shit. You know, I may not have, I don't cover a lot of things. A lot of people, even on radios, a lot of people just smoke me when it comes to, you know, covering videos. It takes me a long time to say what I want to say, and I say very little while I do it, and make very few valid points. But I do my best, and you know, like I said, if you don't like it, fucking tune out of it. I don't care. But doing this with one hand's like a bitch. But yeah. Anyway, there we go. But that's the Home Depot Campbell Hausfeld, and I also have a hose reel. This thing's old, but it gets the job done, and it's gotten the job done for a long time. And you know, it's not bad. It's a bargain brand hose. Again, hoses, you know, once they fuck up on you, maybe you can get a better quality one. I haven't had any problems with this. I've used this thing for years. This thing is about 7 years old, and I've gotten a lot of use out of it. But yeah, for shop, I think this will be a nice one. It's big, but I think it'll be a nice one. You can go to, you know, Harbor Freight's website. You can probably look up Central Pneumatic, and you know, they will tell you the specs and all the shit that you want to know about it. I just wanted to do this video to thank you to the fella that did a video on these compressors, and I thought it was a good video. So, you know, I mean, for what these are, I think they're pretty good. Again, if you have to move these things very much, they are a pain in the ass. But for the most part, 21 gallons doesn't take up much space. You know, I mean, one thing I didn't get was a good idea. I could tell by his door how big it was, but yeah, you're looking at I'll say 16 inches by the height of this